few days, we can have an answer. If we wait until the alarm situation ends, they will have more job in that moment, and maybe things are going slower. So it's better if we apply now. If any of you have this situation and your car expires now, and you need to apply for the extension, you can contact me and we can see the way to apply on your behalf. And don't wait until May or June if it's more than 90 days in that moment. If in May or June you are still in the 90 days after the expiration of your car, then we won't have any problem for sure. But if the 90 days ends today, it's better to apply today, not to wait later. If the card expires in October, you cannot apply in this moment because you are not in the 60 days before the expiration. If your card ends in October, you will start at the end of August, or in August when it's less than 60 days. So if we can start now procedures to those persons whose cards have ends in, now it's April, May, June. In June, if your card expires in July, August, we cannot start. Even if we want, we cannot start. Wait a minute, because I think there's something sounding here. Okay. Then, do you still hear me? Yeah. So next thing. As I said, the application is telematic, it's online, and we can do it on your behalf. Another important thing, very remarkable for all the things we will talk, to travel while your car is expired, you need a return authorization, autorización de regreso. If you need to travel and come back when your car is expired, you need to apply first before leaving Spain for a return authorization. The problem is to apply for that, you need to go to the police station and you need an appointment. And now all the police stations are closed. So if any of you are out of Spain now and want to come back once the car is expired, you will need to enter as a tourist. Or if you come back before your car is expired, then you won't have any problem. If you come back to Spain while you have a valid card, you can enter. If your car is expired, you will need to enter as a tourist with all the requirements for a tourist. If you come from a country which needs a visa to enter in Schengen, you will need a visa. If you are from a country that doesn't need the visa, you can enter, but proving you have a flyback ticket, that you have some place to stay in Spain and you have money to come as a tourist. It's not valid that you show your card and say, but I'm a student in Spain, I'm in the process of a renewal. Doesn't matter. That's not important for the police because your card is expired. So you are entering as a tourist in that moment. So my recommendation is to come back to Spain if possible with all the restrictions we have now before your card expires. And if you are still here and you want to go out, in this moment, you won't be able to have a return authorization. So if you wait here until everything ends, and then you fly, you go out with your return authorization, or if you go out now, come back before the car expires, or assuming the risk to enter as a tourist and the requirements that we have for this. It's very important because many students, when we are in the process to apply for the extensions of their cars, these questions comes every time. I want to travel now. Maybe we are in the process and summer arrives and you want to fly back home or go on holidays or whatever, and you wait until the last minute to say, I need to leave next week, but my car is expired. Well, you will need a return authorization and you need to apply on good time for it because you will need an appointment. And of course, when summer arrives or when Christmas arrives, many people want to travel and there are less appointments available. So you need to do it with time, maybe 1 or 2 months before your trip, you need to prepare this regreso, this return authorization. And the last important thing to be considered from the beginning is when you apply for the new card, you need to do it after the expiration of the card. So if your card expires in 6 June, sorry, the 6th June, and we apply today because we can do it, we are in the 60 days before the expiration, then we have the answer in 1 week, maybe in 2 weeks, we have the answer and we have the permit granted, the extension granted. You won't be able to apply for the new card until the 7th June, the day after the expiration of your card. Even we have the answer before, you won't be able to apply for the new card. And that card, you only will be able to apply for it if the permit they give you is for more than 6 months. If we apply now and your course ends in October or in November, that means May, June, July, August, September, October. That means 6 months from now. But in, I don't know, in June, if you want to apply for the card in June, when possible, that means it will be, your permit will have less than 6 months. So you won't be able to apply for a card. You will have a document saying that you are a student here, you have a permit to be a student here in Spain, but you won't be able to apply for a new card. If you need to travel, then you will need a return authorization because you don't have a card, even you have this letter saying you have a student permit in Spain. After that, we will see the documents we need to apply for this renewal, for this visa extension, permit extension. Another thing about the visa is a stamp in the passport, a big stamp in the passport. If you come as students here, you must have this visa, and this visa is only valid the first time for 90 days to enter in Spain and apply for the card. When you renew the permit, you won't have a new visa in the passport. Those visas are only extended in the Spanish consulates abroad. So here in Spain, we will apply for the extension of the card, and we will have a new card if it's for more than 6 months. To apply for this, we need a form. We will send you this presentation, and you have a link. If you click here in the photo of the form, you will have the link to the form to fill it. If you hire services and we will apply for you, we will prepare the form for you with all the information, so you don't need to worry about that. The main documents are your data and the address that you want to receive the answer. If in this situation, you only can apply with a digital certificate. So if you have a digital certificate or the person who applies on your behalf have a digital certificate, the answer can be received also in the digital certificate telematically. It won't arrive by courier or other ways. If you apply later in the future when everything ends and you apply in person in one of those registered offices, and you don't have a digital certificate, there's a square where it says mark it if you want digital communications. You mustn't mark this square because that means they will send you the document not by mail. No, they will send it to you to a digital certificate, and if you don't have it, the resolution will be lost in the digital world. So you only mark this option if you have a digital certificate, or if we apply on your behalf, or another person who has a digital certificate applies on your behalf. Apart from the form, you need if we apply on your behalf, we need a representative document, an authorization to do it on your behalf. We will prepare also the document. We will send it to you. You can sign the form and the representative document and send us a scanned copy. We don't need the original document signed to apply, but we need your signature. So you will need to print it, sign it, and scan it again to send the documents to us. It's not valid a naming word or a signature with pen but back. If you have your signature and you can copy in the form in a properly way and we see it correctly, it's okay. But because we don't need the original signature in the document. The passport, not expired, of course, your passport must be valid. Only there's a situation where when they accept passports expired, it's if you are from Venezuela, and you can have the extension of your passport in this moment. There are, since a lot of months ago, even 1 year or more, there are many problems to have extensions from people from Venezuela. And for those people, they allow to apply with a expired passport. In other situations, we need a valid passport. What happens if your passport is expired because it's expired now and you can go to the consulate or anywhere to apply for the extension in this alarm situation where we can apply with the expired passport and we will add it, the new one when we have it. It's possible to do it, but we won't have the answer, we won't have the approval until we can add the valid passport to the file. And we need a copy or a scanned copy of all the pages, even the blank ones. This is very important when we do it. We do this for some students. Sometimes they send us a copy of the passport only with their personal data, or the copy with the personal data and the pages where they have stamps, or they consider that these pages are the important ones. No, I need all the pages. If we don't see it, if the administration doesn't see them, they don't know if they are blank or not, if they have stamps or not. So we need a copy from all the pages, from the first one to the last one. We need also a scanned copy of the actual student's card, the TIE you have now. We will also need a profit letter. This is EADA will provide it to you, and you can apply for it, sending a mail, or they know how to do it, and we need only the scanned copy, so we don't need the original. So in this situation, you can also get it. This is the letter in Spanish we say carta de aprovechamiento, profit letter or carta de aprovechamiento. This word aprovechamiento is very important. Sometimes there are people who applies only with the qualifications or with other documents, and it's not valid. We need a letter that says this word, aprovechamiento. The course is, this student is having this course with aprovechamiento. And we also need the proof of the next course, the continuity of the studies. If the card expires in June and the study ends in October, we need a letter from EADA that says that the course ends in October or in November or next year, whatever. Or if you will continue the studies in other university or in other center, then you will need the letter from the other course. This could be a problem sometimes, because to continue your studies, you need to prove that it's the same studies or very related to the first ones, or maybe with language. So if you have done a master in English or an MBA in English in EADA and you want to remain in Spain for 1 more year studying Spanish, is possible with a full course, more than 20 hours per week in an official academy, in official school of languages or official recognized school, and you can do it. Or studying English, Spanish or English, it's possible. But if it's not a language course, it could be a problem, because they could consider, the administration could consider there's not continuity in your studies. These are a new studies, so you need to apply for a new first studying permit. If any of you are in this situation, it's better if we can contact. We will analyze the situation and recommend you if it's okay to apply for an extension, or if it's better to apply for a first student permit. And the other document is the volante de empadronamiento, the register in your place, in your house. That's not necessary. It's not. It's only necessary if you have changed your address, if you are empadronado now in another place. But if you can get it now, if you can get it because this situation, or if you are not registered for the moment in the new place, don't worry. We can apply with the old address, and when we go to the police station in the last step to apply for the new card, we can then give them the new empadronamiento and having the new card, the new address. We don't need to do it now. So if you can have it, don't worry, it's not a problem. It's only if you have it, then we can present it with the new address. The tax, the other document is the tax form. There's a fee to apply for the extension of the student permit, and the amount is 17 with 15 cents, 17 euros with 15 cents. If we apply on your behalf and you have problems to go to the bank or to pay it, we can pay it on your behalf and add it to the file and then invoice the amount to you. No, don't worry about that. If not, if you have a digital certificate, you can pay it. You have the option here to pay it online, or you can go to a bank counter and do it. What do you need to do? When you click here, you will have the link to the form, to the tax form. The first page you see is this one, Sede Electrónica, and you need to choose the second option. If we do it for you, we can prepare the tax form. That's it if you want to do it yourself. This option, the second one, once you click there, you will have this other document. You need to fill it with your personal data, with your address, your phone number, and select the option of prórroga, extension of student permit, prórroga de autorización de estancia por estudios. Then, when you click here, the first thing that appears is this one. Sorry, this is the document you will have at the end, the tax form. But when you click here, you will see this. Then you need to choose the province of Barcelona. If you don't know in the map where we are, check it, because you need to choose the correct province, Barcelona. And if any of you are empadronados or registered in other place, there's here a question: with this permit, should be staying as students. Yeah, we are talking first thing, we are talking about the extension of the student permit. If you go on studying, if you don't finish your studies when your card expires, this is the first thing. After that, we will see the options to change the student permit to other options, to other resident or work options. So you will choose Barcelona or Girona, Lleida, Tarragona, where you are empadronado. The province where you need to apply for the extension is not where you are studying, is where you are registered empadronado. Then you have this, you will fill your name, your NIE, your nationality, your address, phone number, and then mark this option 1.3, which is here in the presentation. And then you will need to put this code here and obtener documento. The amount will appear automatically when you choose the correct option. So it's 17 with 15, and you do obtener documento, and you will have this PDF document with the previous, with this one. You print it, you go to the bank, any ATM, if you are a client from this bank, or BBA bank ATM. If you are not client, you can pay anyway in BBA, or in any automatic cash dispenser with the card of the same entity. or in the bank counter. Now the banks are open. It's essential services, so you can go to a bank and pay. But as I said, if you hire services and we do it on your behalf, we can pay the tax for you. So this is the tax document. We have said the TIE, the passport, the form, the tax, and now is the other requirements, the economic resources. We need to prove, as in the first time we apply for the student permit, the student visa, we need to prove economic resources. How to prove it? But first of all, how much or the amount we need to prove is 100% of the IPREM for monthly. So it's 537 euros, 38 euros per month. This is the amount we need to prove during all the months that we still have or we are asking for the student permit. If we apply for 6 months, so it's 538 per 6. If it's for, per 1 year, the amount per one person is 6,454.55 euros for 1 year extension. If you have family dependents, if you have people here in Spain, your husband, your wife, or your kids under 18 with you with a student family permit, then the amount increase 50% for it. The first person is 75% of the prem, so it's 403 euros more for the first person, and 269 euros per the third one or fourth one. It's one more. How to prove it? We prove it with the best way to prove it is if you have a bank account in Spain and you have this amount in the bank account in Spain. We ask for a bank statement certificate or with a bank statement with the original stamp of the bank. The bank statement certificate you can apply for it usually in the applications in the app of the bank. You have an option to apply for a bank statement, and this is an official document, and even we don't have the original stamp of the bank, is valid. This is the best way, but maybe any of you doesn't have the bank account in Spain and have the money in other ways. So another option is a notary letter, a notarial letter, a letter done by any of your family, your father, your mother, your brother, sister, in your country. They need to go to a notary there and explain and make a declaration there saying that they will, that person will send to you minimum this monthly amount, 538 euros per month. They need to explain for how long they will give you this money and how do you have this money in Spain. If it's a bank transfer to another account in your country under your name, if you will use it with a bank and card that can be used in Spain, or the way you have this money in Spain. It's not enough with the letter. We need to prove how we have this money in Spain. In the last year, we had many problems proving the funds, the economic resources, when we don't have a bank account in Spain. Sometimes administration is quite restricted with this. So if we have the notarial letter of a family member, it's better to explain all the things. The amount, the monthly amount, the time you will receive it, and the way you receive it in Spain. And also provide the proof of economic resources of that family members, bank certificate or tax returns, some documents of them proving that the way they have money to send you this amount monthly. They have money to live for themselves and also to give you that money monthly. If you have a bank account in other country, we can also present a bank statement of that account in the other country, but we will need it legalized or apostille. We will need it translated by a short translator. A short translator is not any kind of translator. There are a list of official translators in Spain, which are short translators, and there's a list, and we need the translation done by one of these. And also the difficult point is that even the account is in another currency, we will need to say the amount in euros. The bank needs to make a certificate saying which is the amount in euros and the way you have this money in Spain. If the bank statement is from a bank in another country, not in Spain, the bank needs to certificate the amount in euros or the change in that moment, in the moment of the emission of the certificate, and the way you have this money in Spain. If you can have it with a card, then make a document saying which is the card, and that card can be used in ATMs in Spain or with a limit of I don't know, 600 per month or whatever. But we need this certificate. So this is the reason why sometimes it's difficult to prove the economical resources when we don't have a bank account in Spain. If you don't have it, now it's not the moment to open it, I understand. But if you need to renew later in September, October, maybe, and you don't have it for the moment, maybe when everything ends, when the alarm situation ends, you can think about opening it and make the money transfer to Spain having this money, and for sure you won't have problems to have the extension. As I said, if we present documents from foreign documents, documents done in other countries, we need it legalized, apostille, or untranslated if they are not in Spanish. This is the proofs of the economical resources. Apart from that, we need also to prove the private health insurance. The same, you need to prove to get the first permit. We also need now to prove you have a private health insurance to be in Spain with white cover, without co-payments, and without waiting periods. Take care, because sometimes the private health insurance that was valid for obtaining the initial student permit or the initial student visa may not be valid for obtaining the extension. Maybe when you apply in the Spanish consulate or embassy in your country, you present a travel insurance or an insurance from your country and they accept it. But once you are in Spain and you want to have an extension, you will need a Spanish insurance, or if it's an international one, it needs to be very clear that you have all the covertures in Spain, white cover, without co-payments. We have an instruction from the administration saying that co-payments less than 10 euros could be accepted, but if you have, anyway, if you don't have a medical insurance or if you need to renew it, better to hire one with white cover and without co-payments. And if you already have one, we can check if it's valid or we need a new one. So the economical resources and the private health insurance. And which is the procedure? Sorry. Here. You are asking about the legalization. The legalization, we have two options. One option is to legalize a document if your country is in the ASH apostille or in the ASH agreement. The ASH, the apostilla de la Haya o el convenio de la Haya, ASH agreement. That means that we need only a stamp, the ASH apostille. La apostilla de la Haya, it's only a stamp. And this stamp, you only can have it in your country, in the country where the document is done. You can have it here, apostilla, the apostille, for a document done in Russia or in Colombia. You need to do it in the foreign ministry of that country. You need to apply there. There is a list of places where you can apply for them. It depends also of the country, and it's only first a stamp. Sometimes there are documents that are we have from the consulate. If we have the documents from the your consulate in Spain or your embassy in Spain, then we need a stamp from the foreign ministry in Spain, but this is different. And the countries which are not in the ASH agreement, that have the apostilla de la Haya, the ASH apostille, they need 3 stamps, which is more complicated. The first stamp is from the authorities that do this document. The second one is the foreign ministry of the country. And the third one is the Spanish consulate in Spain. But you don't need to go in person. Normally we have, somebody can do it on your behalf, a family, or even there are services in almost every country. There are services, private services who does that for you. So you don't need to go in person. Sometimes will need a document, authorization for that person or something, but it's very strange to need to go in person to legalize a document. And sometimes with the ASH apostille, there are also telematic options to get it, depending on the document. But we only need that legalization if the document is a foreign document. If the document is from Spain, we don't need it. So only if the financial resources or the economic resources comes from abroad, we will need this legalization. So which is the procedure? We apply, we prepare the documents, you will send us a mail with all the documents, we will send you the representative document and the form, you can sign it and send it back to you. And if there's something remaining, we will let you know and you can send us another mail. We will apply on your behalf. If the administration considers that we need more documents, or sorry, they need more documents, or any documents, imagine we start now the application, but we don't have the economical resources in that moment. They will make a requirement of additional documents, and we will have 10 working days to add the documents to the file. These 10 working days are stopped now. So that's what I was talking at the beginning. We can apply now, and if we need any document that we can have it now, we will add it when the alarm situation ends in the future. We will have 10 days after the end of this time to add this document, but the application is already done in time. And if we have the document and we can add it to the file, we will have the answer. So in the moment that everything comes back to normality, we will be able to go to the police station to apply for the card, and we will have already the answer. So if you are in the period to apply for the renewal, in the 60 days before the expiration or in the 90 days after, I insist, my recommendation is to start to apply. Don't wait until everything ends, because things will be faster. The maximum legal time to obtain a resolution is 3 months. It's supposed they have to give you an answer in 3 months, but that will depend on the volume of the administration in any moment. Sometimes, last year when we applied in April, May, June, we had answers in 1 week. Now in this moment we are having answers, so they are working, and we apply. We had one these days, and we have the answer in, I think, in 2 weeks or less, in 1 week. So they are working and could be fast. But sometimes when we apply in August or September, October, especially September, October, we need to wait more time, sometimes even 4 months to have an answer. In Madrid, it's even more, could be 6 months or more. So if your card expires in September, don't wait until September. It's better if we apply in July, because during this time they are still having, they don't still have many applications, so they can go faster. Think about almost everybody comes to Spain to study first time in September, October, and the cards are for 1 year. So it's very common that the questions in the, well, anyway, I will answer the questions at the end. So we can apply now. We will have the answer if we apply now very fast. If we apply in September, October, the answer could take more time. And we will receive the resolution, so we'll receive it fast. This is about the extension of the visa. But maybe you are finishing your studies and you want to know what can we do after that. First, reminding about the convenio de prácticas or internship agreement while you are a student. While you are a student, with your student permit, you can apply, you can have an internship agreement, a convenio de prácticas. You can sign it and you will do your internship in a company. That's an agreement between the company, the university, and you. It's not a contract, and it's different from an internship contract that we will talk later. This is an agreement, and you are not working. You are learning in a company. Not apart from the learning in your school, you learn in a company. So this is an internship agreement. This is not a work, and you are learning. So this could only be done while you are a student. While you are studying, until you finish your studies, you can do a convenio de prácticas. So you need to remain enrolled for the duration, and it's valid for the duration of the course. Once you end your studies, you cannot go on with a convenio de prácticas. You will need the other options we will talk now. If any of you have any doubt about for how long can do this internship agreement, can contact the services at EADA, and they will inform you how long can you have this internship agreement, or and since when until when. But we have other permits. We have the resident permit for internship. If you have, imagine next month when everything ends, you find in a company that wants to have an internship agreement with you for 6 months. So we have two options. We can remain with our student permit, or we can apply for a resident permit for internship. Internship with convenio de prácticas, with internship agreement. You need to apply for an agreement minimum for 6 months, and you can extend it for 6 more months. But remind that you need to be studying to have this convenio de prácticas. So you will only be able to be with it during your studies. When you end your studies, you will need to go to the next option, a resident permit with internship contract. When you end your studies and during the next 2 years, or if you have another master or another degree obtained less than 2 years ago, now you are able to apply for a resident permit for internship. I'm talking about resident permit because you are no more a student with this permit. The student is a situation in Spain, a stay situation in Spain as a tourist or a student. Tourist student is the same situation. It's not a residence permit and doesn't count in the future to apply for citizenship or to apply for long-term permits. But when you apply for this other permit, the internship permit, this is a resident permit. With an internship contract, when you end your studies, or in the next 2 years after that, you can apply for this internship permit. We will need the receipt of the title application to apply for the permit, and the contract must be minimum for 6 months, maximum for 2 years. This is the labor law, which says that the internship contract needs to be minimum for 6 months, maximum for 2 years. We can apply for it from Spain if you are here as a student, or even if you are here as a tourist. If you end your studies, you come back to your country, and then you have a labor opportunity with an internship contract. You can come back as a tourist, and then we can apply for this internship residency. Or if you are in your country, we apply for it from here with the company, and when we have the answer here, you apply for a visa and you come to Spain with a resident visa. Of course, this is an internship contract, but based on in a studies. So the position must be related to your studies. This is the convenio or the internship agreement is you are learning in the company because you are still a student and you are receiving some additional formation in the company. With the internship contract, it's not the same, but it's considered that as you had your master or your degree less than 2 years ago, you still need some formation in the real job world. So you will receive some part of formation, but not. But you are now working. This is a job. It's not like in the internship agreement that is not considered you are working. With the internship contract, you are working. You have all the rights as an employee and all the conditions as the other employees. The only difference could be about the salary that could be a bit less than general employees. Do you think that you said if companies actually do this? I'm doing a lot of permits for many companies. It's true that many of the companies doesn't know about this permit because this permit exists since the end of 2018, and there are still a lot of companies that doesn't know about it very well. So we are explaining them, we are talking to them about the options. It's very fast because as it says here, it's only 30 working days to have an answer. And in Barcelona, is even less. It's 20 something days or 1 month to have an answer. And if we don't have the answer, it's a positive silence. That means the permit is granted after 30 working days without an answer. Your permit is granted and you can start working. But here in Barcelona, we receive the answer faster. In Madrid, it's a problem because the answers are taking 5-6 months, even more sometimes. They are now receiving the answers for applications done in September, which is horrible. But if you find a company here in Catalonia, it will be fast. It will be 30 working days or even less to have the answer and to start working. So we are explaining this to the companies, and when we know about it, if your profile is interesting for them, they are doing it. Sometimes if they don't know, you come to the interview, you say I'm a student, and they don't know about this option, and it's like, oh, I need a work permit to hire you, so I'm sorry. But if you explain them, no, but I'm a student, but I can apply for a work permit. I need an internship contract, and in less than 1 month, I can start working. Sometimes they will accept, and they could accept. With this permit, I consider it's a win-win for both of you. For the company, because they can pay you a bit less than a general employee, because the internship contract you could receive, sometimes it's 60% of the general salary or 75%, depending on the labor agreement, but not less than 60%. So for them, it could be a good point to do this permit because they can hire you paying less. And for you, it's interesting too. You also win because you will have a resident permit in Spain. And after 1 year, you can change it to a general work permit and be free to change job, to don't have an internship contract and to have a normal contract in any company after 1 year. So it's the first year, maybe for you, you will receive less money. This could be great for the company, but for you, the great thing is you have a resident permit. So it's why I say it's maybe win-win for both. So this is the internship contract, but we have other options. We also have, if we finish the studies, and what happens if you finish, but you don't find in that moment a job, you don't have the option to do the internship contract with any company. Then in EADA, in this moment, all the masters or MBAs are official. So when you finish an official studies, an official master or the MBA, you are able to apply for a job searching or job seeking visa, job seeking permit, or a permit to prepare your business project if you want to do your own business. This is the same permit. It's a permit that gives you the option to look for a job or to prepare your own business project. You need the receipt of the application of the title. You need to have finished your studies. The maximum period they give you a permit for 1 year, 12 months, and it's not extendable. If after 1 year you haven't find a job, there's no possibility to extend this permit. You will need to come back to your country, and then if you find in the future a permit, then you can apply for work permits like others. But you cannot extend this 1 year if you don't find a job during this time. The application must be done. In this case, we cannot apply in any moment. Oh, I want to apply now. No, you need to apply always when you have finished your studies, because we need the receipt of the application of the title, but also in the 60 days before the application, before the expiration of your student card, and in the 90 days after the expiration. So if your card expires in October and you will have the receipt of the title at the beginning of November, we can apply in November for the job searching visa if you don't have another option because you haven't found a company that wants to do an internship contract. This is the option. The answer, so for this option, it's only possible to do it when you are a student. It's not possible for a person who already ended their studies. It's more than 90 days since the expiration of the card and now says, oh, I want to apply for this. No, only for those people who are with a student permit in Spain and during the 60 days before the expiration and the 90 days after. Then the resolution period is 20 working days. In the internship contract was 30 working days. Here is 20 working days, and it's positive silence after that 20 working days. If we don't have the answer, we know the permit is granted, and we can focus and find a job during these 12 months. And when we find the job, we apply for the other permit, the internship job permit, or the other we will see now. To get this permit, apart from the receipt of the title, we need economic resources and medical insurance, the same conditions that, as extension for a student permit, the same amount and the same conditions about the economic resources to extend a student permit. We need it for this permit, and the medical insurance in the same conditions as the extension of the student. And if you have relatives with a family student permit, they also can apply for this permit for 1 year to be here with you. And when you change your permit to a work permit, they will change to a reunification family permit. This is the job searching visa. Then we have the high qualified permit. This is this permit is since 2013, so maybe the part of the relatives. If you have not I was talking only about the relatives who already are in Spain as with a family student permit. When a student comes to Spain, their husband or wife or kids under 18 can also apply for a student family permit, permiso de familiar de estudiante. And it's a permit linked to the student. While you are studying here, your wife, husband, or kids can be here with you. If they are in this situation and you finish your studies and you apply for the job searching visa or job seeking employment, or to seek an employment, then your family members will apply for another permit to be here with you during this time. It's only this. If they are still in their country, you can apply for permits for them. With this permit, anybody can job. Nobody can work with this permit. It's to look for a job, to search a job. Once you find it, once you find the job, you apply for the permit and then start working. And also, if your family members find a job, they can also apply for the work permit depending on the job they found. But with this permit, it's not possible to work. It's an extension of your situation to look for a job. And when you find it, you apply for the internship job permit, or for the high qualified permit, which is the one I'm talking now. This permit exists since the end of 2013, and at the beginning we have options for people. I will finish with this, and then we will start with the questions, okay? Because it's quite late. Okay, this permit at the beginning was possible to have it with maybe 25K per year, 30K per year, but now the requirements get more complicated with the amount you need to prove, and the requirements about, because consider this is high qualified employee, high qualified work permit. So it's for positions with high qualification, with experience, and with high salaries. With salaries more than 40,000 per year, or 31,000 per year if you are less than 30 years. Or if the company is in a strategic sector for the Spanish economy, if a startup, a tech company, or something like that, it's possible to have this permit if your salary is more than 31,000 per year, or 40,000 per year in general. So this is for high qualified position. That's why the requirement has increased, because now we have the option for internship contracts. So if you have finished your master now, you have an offer for 25,000 per year or 28,000 per year, it's not possible to have a high qualified permit, but you can have an internship contract and apply for the other one. So depending on the offer, we will go in one way or in the other. This permit is, the answer is in 20 working days, so it's not very different from the internship contract. It's 30 working days for the internship contract, 20 working days for this one. For this one, so for the company, there's not a huge difference. There's positive silence too. The permit is for 2 years. If the contract is for 2 years or indefinido, then you will have a permit for 2 years. If you change the company, you need a new application. This high qualified permit and also the internship resident permit are linked to the company and to the contract. If you change the company, you need to do a new application with the new company. After 1 year with a resident permit, you can apply for a general work permit, and in that moment you will be free to change companies and to change your job without applying again and again every time. So this is the high qualified permit, and the last one is if you want to make your own business, if you want to entrepreneur, then we have another permit. Is the permit for entrepreneurship, but not all the business projects are valid to apply for this permit. We need a favorable report, from the Spanish Economy Ministry, considering that your project is interesting for Spanish economy. They will consider if you create jobs or your professional profile, of course your business plan. You need to include to explain the product or service, make a market analysis, your financial resources for the project, and the added value for the Spanish economy, the innovation, the investment opportunities that gives for Spain. So not any business. It's like, it needs to be a plus for the Spanish economy, for the Spanish interest, to give you an entrepreneurship visa or permit. If any of you are in this situation, you can talk me a bit about the project, and we will see if it's possible to go through this way, or if not, we can ask for a job searching visa, and after that apply for a general self-employment work permit, which also exists, but it's not entrepreneurship. It's a different one. It's a general work permit, but only to be autonomous or to self-employment. It's not possible to have a permit for both things. this is when you have a long-term permit, then you will be able, but not for now. This permit is also for 2 years, and you will renew it if your business goes on. You don't need to make all to achieve all the goals you propose in your business project. If you said, I will hire in 2 years, I will hire 10 people, and then you only hire 2, but the project goes on and things are going well, you can renew the permit. Or in 2 years, I will make 1 million euros, and in 2 years, you only make 200,000. Well, if the project goes on and your report is quite good, then you will have the renewal. It's understood that the provisions not always you don't achieve all of them in the first 2 years of a project. So this is all the permits we have. It's very fast. I know we can not be here all the afternoon, not because we don't have time, because we are at home and we also have other things to do, many funny things, I'm sure. So if you have questions, if you want more information about any specific permit, you can send me an email. You have here my email, María Blasco, or here is my team, Laura, Esther, Judith, and Irene. All of them speak English. Esther is Chinese, so if any of you are Chinese, she can also speak Chinese. And we will be very pleased to help you with all the procedures, all your doubts. And again, we can do it now. We can apply now. We don't need to wait until everything ends. Things are stopped, but those things who are not stopped, we can make profit of them. So I will go now with your questions. The first one was, the first one is if any of us wants to go on in another European university, how is the extension? Then you will need to apply for a visa, in that country, in the country you want to go on studying. There's some agreements between the EU that if you have the visa in Spain and you go on studying, the same, you need to continue the studies, but you can do it in another country, but you will need to apply for the visa in this other country. If one wants to extend with an internship, which is the process, I have talked about it. If you want to extend your permit with an internship, it's only possible if it's an internship agreement while you are doing the course. So if the course ends in November, you cannot extend the student permit for more time from November, because you cannot do an internship agreement, a convenio de prácticas, when you finish your studies. Then you will need an internship contract, and we will apply for an internship contract. Okay, is there any maximum pay for the internship contract? There's no maximum pay for internship contract. Of course, if they want to pay you more than 40,000 euros, maybe it's more recommended to apply for the high qualified permit, but there's no maximum. We can apply for an internship contract with a salary of 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, whatever. But it's hard to have the salaries in the first 2 years, of course. But if you have the offer, we can do it. There's no problem. More things. Can we have the internship agreement for the first 6 months after the expiration of our NIE, and then apply again for the resident permit for seeking employment? First thing, again, if we are finished our studies, we cannot have an internship agreement. So we won't be able to apply for an internship agreement residence after finishing our studies. We can apply while we are studying. If you have the internship agreement now and it's more than 6 months, we can apply for the residence. But we cannot apply for the permit for seeking employment or the job searching visa or job searching permit. We only can apply for that one being a student. So if we apply for a resident permit with internship contract or internship agreement for 6 months, and when we finish the internship agreement, we don't have another job, in that moment, we won't be able to apply for the job searching visa. So my recommendation is, if you are not very sure about your continuity when the internship agreement ends, do the internship agreement being a student, and when you finish, you will be able to apply for the job searching visa. If you are sure that you will remain in the company and when you finish your internship agreement, they will give you an internship contract, then we can apply for the resident permit in that moment, in the moment of the internship agreement. I would like more information about the student visa to work visa transition. In September 2020, I will have been on a student visa for 3 years. Oh yes, I haven't talked about that. There's another option which exists many years ago. That means when you have been in Spain for 3 years as a student, 3 years continuous, 3 years on row in Spain as a student, you can also change the student permit to a work permit with any kind of contract. Here, there's no restriction about salary, about position, or about anything. But you need a contract for 1 year, an offer for 1 year, and you will need to prove that your studies have been done with profit until that moment. There's no problem if you have been out of Spain more than any days, 125, you say, during these 3 years, but you need to have extensions of the student permit. It's not possible if you have 1 year student permit and you finish, you don't extend it, you come back to your country and you apply for a new one. This is different. There's a limitation for the days out when you want to apply for a arraigo. It's another kind of permit for people here in a irregular situation with no documents. That's different from the change to a student to a work permit. But you can send me an email and we will analyze, Sari, your situation. Sorry, I haven't seen the name. I haven't said the names before of your questions. Well, Paolo asked, with this permit, you can apply to jobs as a regular worker. I understand you are talking about the job searching visa. You can apply for jobs as a regular worker, yes, but it's true that when you arrive to the interview, they will ask you, do you have a work permit? Well, I have a permit to allows me to change it to a work permit, but you will need, the company makes something. They will need to apply on your for you. But we can do this job for the company. The company doesn't need to go anywhere or to do anything. You can explain them that you have a lawyer that could do that. They only will need to provide the lawyer for some documents and some signatures, and that's all. And they won't have any expenses and they won't have any headaches about the permit. And in 30 working days maximum, you will be able to start working. This is what you can say to them, Paolo. Ricardo, imagining that there have been cases in which the work permit was rejected, what were the causes? What are the options after this situation? Work permit rejected? Well, many causes, but usually the causes could be because of the company. But to me, we haven't got any rejection of any permit we have done, I have to say, because we are very sure before start that we have all the requirements, that the company has everything. And then if we apply correctly, we won't have any problem. If the company has debts with the tax department or with the social security department, then you won't have the permit because the company has debts. If you don't have the requirements, if you don't have the receipt of the title or other reasons, if you have a rejection, you can appeal. There's the possibility, you can appeal, or you can come back as a tourist and apply for a new one, or even if we are still on time, we can apply again, doing things correctly. For national of Ibero-American countries, that's the option to be contrato de prácticas cons as resident for the for the time of citizenship. Yes, that was I was explaining that the internship resident permit is already a residence permit, so it counts for to apply for the citizenship after 2 years. To apply for the citizenship in Spain, there are a general term of 10 years for everybody, but there are some exceptions. And one of the exceptions is for people from Ibero-American countries that they only need 2 years of residence in Spain to apply for the citizenship. Why, you will say? Well, because it's supposed they already have some part of roots here to be able to prove their the knowledge about the society, the culture, and everything in Spain. They already have the language, so they will be integrated faster than other countries. So this is, and because of the common history we have, for them it's only 2 years. And it counts. Espectadora anónima. Another anonymous one is it significantly more difficult for companies to sponsor an internship contract as opposite to an internship agreement? What kind of criteria exists for the Spanish government to accept or reject? Okay, it's the difference between internship agreement and internship contract. This is a thing that is changing in the last months. Now everything is stopped, but this was changing, and this will change more in the future because there are more control with internship agreements. It's true that many companies prefer an internship agreement as before an internship contract or sponsor a person to do any kind of job permit, because that means a job contract. Why? Well, the expenses in social security with an internship agreement are very few, maybe 50 euros per month. In the other side, the expenses for a job contract could be 400 euros per month or even more, depending on the salary. So for a company, from the beginning, it's like, well, an internship agreement is okay because for me there are not a lot of expenses for this person. But the point is that internship agreement is learning, as I was saying. It's not a job position. The person who is with an internship agreement is not working. So we are having more and more controls from the inspection of Social Security with the companies to be sure that those people with internship agreement are really people in internship agreement and they are not working. So the companies are starting to change their mind about internship contracts and to change their mind about doing internship agreements if the job at the end is a job. So if the person is working, this person couldn't be with a internship agreement. So things are changing. And when we explain this to the companies and we explain them the risk they have if they do an internship agreement when they want you to work, they used to understand and they go in the other way. So that's all we have in preguntas y respuestas, but I see the chat very active, so I will have a look of the chat. Uy, a ver. Well, I will start with the last here. Antonio, I have a question. My MBA at EADA finished in July. My visa expires at the end of July. My wife is doing a 2-year MBA that finished in May. Can I apply for an extension, or should I apply for a new visa? I also want to work after the MBA. Well, Antonio, your visa expires at the end of July, but you are here with, well, I think it's better if you send me an email and maybe we'll have a call tomorrow, past tomorrow, to analyze your situation, because it depends if you have a student permit or you are as a family of your wife student permit, or if your wife has this family student permit and you are the student. But you, in this moment, if you finish in May and your car is finished in July, you can apply for a job searching visa without any problem and be here looking for a job. And when you find it, you will change it. And this time with a job searching visa will also count as a resident permit for these 2 years you need to apply for the citizenship. So it could be interesting to start be a resident already. Would the first two options work for those who find internship contract for a position not directly related to the master program studies? No, as I said, the internship contract needs to be related to the master you have done or to your previous studies if it's less than 2 years ago. If not, you need 3 years here in Spain as a student to apply for a general work permit with any kind of job. Who can get a job permit without an internship? But with another position. After 3 years, as I said, Renata, it's 3 years as a student to apply to any job. You need a job offer, of course, but in any kind of job. David Sahil says, hi, I have a Brazilian passport. I was reading that there is a list of Iberian countries that state that it says 2 years you can apply for a Spanish passport. Yes, but your year of study in EADA doesn't count. The time as a student doesn't count as residence for the citizenship because the student time is only a stay here in Spain. It's not a resident time. You need to change your permit to a work permit or a job searching visa permit, and then you start counting as a resident. And as a Brazilian, in 2 years, you will be able to apply. If you are here as a resident with this Brazilian passport, if you apply for your student permit or your work permit in the future with another passport, then it's not 2 years, it's the time of your passport. The resident permit with internship contract, isn't there a minimum month? No, I have a minimum monthly salary you have to be paid. A maximum, I said, there's no maximum, but there's a minimum. It will depend on the labor agreement, the convenio colectivo. Usually the general law says the first year is 60% of the general salary for this position, and the second year 75% of the general salary, the normal salary for this job position. But the labor agreement or convenio colectivo could say something different, could say the first year is 70% and the second year 80%. We need to see the job offer and the labor agreement. I still haven't found an internship job, but companies are rejecting me because of no work permit. They can arrange it. Can tell them that I can. Yes, as Pratik Sananja. It's what I said. Now you have this information, so you have your options. When you are in an interview, you can say, okay, I don't have a work permit, but I have the way to apply for it, and it could be fast. In 1 month, I will be able to start working. So I have the lawyer, I have all the requirements, and I can contact you with my lawyer, and she will explain what she needs. You can give us or give them our details. Sometimes they can check the website. They will see that we are formal lawyers, that we are important law firm. So that will give them confidence and trust in the process or in the things you are saying. And I have to say that when I talk with the companies, 95% of the times they want to do the permit. So it's very possible. Of course, if you are the profile, if that's an excuse to reject you, sometimes it could happen. They say, okay, no, but you don't have a work permit. It's okay. And that's not the real reason. Maybe there's another profile which is more interesting for them. We don't know. Yania, can you clarify the difference between internship contract and internship agreement? I have done it. We can apply for the high qualified visa with a job. High qualified permit visa with a job. We can only apply, yes, for all kind of job permits in Spain. You need a job offer, a contract. You cannot apply for a work permit without having a company sponsoring you. Hello, Eugenia. Thanks a lot for the lecture. I'm going to ask you, so that's standard. So from what I understood, it's not possible for me to find a job directly. I have to go through the internship phase, right? No, you can find a job directly and you can do the high qualified permit, but you can also go to a job directly. But when we want to apply for the permit, we explain that we need to do the internship contract. The internship contract is to be able to apply for the permit. Even it's not the same as an internship agreement. Forget about that. It's an opportunity for the companies to hire people which have just finished their studies and give them some opportunities. But if they want to hire you with 35 per year, it's okay. Even you have the internship contract, you will have all the rights, all the benefits of other people in the company, and the only difference is during 2 years or 1 year minimum, you will have this name in the contract, but it's the only difference. Can we get a work permit directly after finishing studies? No, Irina, if you don't have a job offer and a company that sponsors you, you can have a work permit. Question related to the Brazilian variant for the Spanish passport. I have answered it. Let's do, okay, it's legal to propose internship with remuneration, with zero remuneration, sorry. Irina, an internship agreement could be remunerated or not. In fact, there's no remuneration with this when it's an internship agreement, because as I said, you are not working, you are learning. So they can compensate your expenses with some amount, 400 euros, 500 euros, 600 euros. If the amount is the same, they will give an employee, then this could be how to say, a pista, well, an indicative for the Social Security Administration to think that you are a false internship person, that your internship agreement is false and you are really working, or you are in fact working. So with zero remuneration, it's possible if it's an internship agreement. There are some things that there's no remuneration and it's possible. They don't have the obligation to give you a money help while you are doing an internship agreement. When you have an internship contract, it's different. You are working, so you need a salary, and you must have it, the salary, and this is the minimum of 60% or without maximum and side talk. I don't know, Tatiana, I don't know if you already mentioned it, but how much is the cost you charge for doing all the process? Well, it depends on if it's the visa extension or the other permits, but you can send me an email and I will give you the fees. We have a special fees for EADA people, so we have a 50% discount of the general price for visa extension to do that. Adara, considering the COVID situation, it has been increasingly difficult for students in our sector to get internship or job offers. I understand. I'm sorry. If we end up not be able to get an internship offer, what is your best suggestion? To apply for the seeking employment resident permit? Of course, if you end your studies, you won't go on studying, at least apply for the job searching permit. You will have 1 year time to find a job. If you don't find it, well, you will need to come back to your country, and you still can do interviews and can look for an offer in Spain. And when you have it, you come as a tourist, or we apply from here, you come with a visa. It's possible to during the next 2 years. During the job searching year, can you get an internship contract instead of a job? An internship contract is a job. That's the point. During this year, you will need to find an internship contract, because that's a job, not an internship agreement. An internship agreement, convenio, different from contrato. Convenio is internship agreement, and you won't be able to have it when you finish your studies because you need to be a student to have it. But with the job searching visa, that's the idea. You have the job searching visa, and after 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, or 2 months, you find a job, then they want to give you an internship contract, then you apply for the internship job permit. Does this job searching permit contribute to the time spent as a resident towards? Yes, this counts as time to citizenship because it's residence. The job searching visa is residence. But if after the end of the year you haven't found a job, then you won't be able to go on being a resident in Spain and you will lose this year. I think that's all. Let's see the questions. This is the chat here. I don't have more. I have 2 more questions, and we will need to end it. Okay. And if you have more questions, you can send me by mail without any problem. If it's possible to answer you fast, we will do it. If that requires an analysis and other situations, maybe we can do a Skype or a call, and then we will see you the fees for this advice or consultation, which have a special price also for EADA students. As you mentioned, it is quite easy for companies to sponsor a visa. Why companies regularly reject? Because they don't know it. And when they ask maybe to the labor department or the labor advisors who are not immigration advisors, they say, oh, it's very difficult, it's very complicated to have a work permit, forget about it. Hire another one, look for another one who already has a job permit. And that's the thing, I know it. I have been working in immigration since 2002. And when you talk the companies and explain the procedures, it's like, oh, I didn't know it was possible. I thought it wasn't possible. I talked with the person who does the payroll in my company, and they told me it was impossible. That's 95% times the answer. So it's because they don't know it. Suppose I apply for a 12-month job search permit, and 2 months into it, I find a 6-month internship contract. After the internship ends, will I still have the balance of months in the 12-month job? No. Once you change the permit for the job searching visa, you have this option only one time. It's a job searching visa. The intention of the permit ends when you find a job. So when you find the internship job contract, if it's only for 6 months, when you finish these 6 months, you will need another company who wants to hire you for 1.5 years more or 6 months more, something more to go on with a permit, but you won't be able to come back to the job searching visa. But don't worry about that, because when you start in the wheel of the job, it will be easy to find another one, because, or maybe to renew it with this company, because maybe at the beginning they only want to give you 6 months because they don't know you. But once you are there, they will extend your contract for the maximum, which is 2 years if you are a good employee, that I'm sure you are. I think that's all for now. I hope I have answered everything. I can ask by email. Don't worry, Adara, thank you. Ask by mail. I think it's better. And during the job seeking your visa, what is the minimum period required to work? During the job seeking your visa, what is the minimum period required to work? If you find a job the day after applying for the job searching visa, even you don't have still the answer, we can apply in that moment for the resident permit with internship contract. There's not minimum period with the job seeking visa to change to the other. I think that's all. Thank you very much for being here, and keep in touch. You have my email. Don't doubt about send me an email. Don't worry about that. We are at home. We are working. We have job, of course, but we will be very present to answer your doubts. So bye-bye.